It's that person that tells you, you're so lucky to catch me, I'm never here, or whatever it is. The people that are on the ball, that are prepared, they run into those laydowns, if you will. They very rarely happen to the guys that aren't putting in the work and that aren't prepared.
Having a strong why. That's always probably the number one best practice anyone could have, is finding what your why is. And one thing we always say is that money should be a result, not a reason.
In spite of not having a schedule, they make their own. Because if you have money in your bank and you just had a really good week, what is keeping you on the doors? Your why. That should be what's keeping you on the doors.
Hello guys, welcome to this episode of the Behind the Knock podcast, where today we'll be going over best practices.
Nice. Thank you for that introduction, Isaiah.
Of course.
But yeah, we got the big dogs on the show today. We got Isaiah, we got Drake, our executive leadership in place, myself included. But yeah, we wanted to go over best practices. So a lot of the podcasts have been more or less for recruiting purposes, get to know the company. However, some of these podcasts, we want them to be internal for some training purposes. I imagine there could still be maybe some clips that they could post out of them. However, you know, the idea for this is like employee facing. So with best practices, Drake, what would you say is like the starting point? What would you start with best practices?
Best practices, good starting point. I mean, the most important thing is just showing up, right? Mm-hmm. Half the battle is showing up, and then being prepared for the day. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it.
Yeah, be prepared.
Be prepared. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And so let's unpack that a little bit. What would go into, like, what does it look like to come and say to the jump start in the morning prepared?
So, I mean, typically what we look for when somebody comes into a jump start, if they're ready, they've essentially, if you come into the jump start and you're ready to leave from there to go out onto the doors, right? You've got your hair done, you're wearing the swag, and you're high energy. It's not just a morning meeting, it's a jump start. We're there to jump start the day and get going.
Get going.
Oh,
yep.
Yeah. A big one too is eating before jump start. So you don't have to go out and grab food after, and you're delaying getting out to area because you want to get out on the doors as soon as you can.
You know, I'd say probably the most expensive meal you could ever eat is that post jump start meal.
Yep.
Because timing favors the people that get out there and, first one in the neighborhood. It's that person that tells you, you're so lucky to catch me, I'm never here, or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The people that are on the ball, that are prepared, they run into those laydowns, if you will. They very rarely happen to the guys that aren't putting in the work and that aren't prepared. But the guys that are prepared, it's like they just have, they have an overabundance of deals. They just come out the woodwork. But yeah, some of that preparation, I 100% agree. And some people, maybe they're not big on eating in the morning. That's fine. Yeah. However, if you do need to eat in the morning and you choose to do it after the jump start, and, kind of a rule of thumb is get up 2 hours before you got to be somewhere. That should give you plenty of time to do the things that you need to do. For me, when I have enough time in the morning, it's just like I feel so much more relaxed going into my day. I feel proactive going into my day and not reactive.
Yeah, that's important.
100%. Yeah. And just even leaving with enough time to make it to the office early, right? Our offices are in metropolitan areas, and y'all been out to San Antonio. It could take 30 minutes. It could take an hour and 10 minutes to get to the office. There's really no knowing. Mm-hmm. And with that being said, you kind of just got to leave early enough to get there on time. Because if you don't, what does it look like on the drive there? You're cursing out every old lady, the train that stops you, whatever it is. And that's kind of a reactive energy. Now you're going to take that into the sacred place that is the jump start. There's no place for it. What would be some other things you guys would say that could help you out in the morning?
I think having a routine is important too, especially if you're a routine-driven individual. I know Blake is for sure. I remember being on the pod with him. You know, we would have to make sure that he was the first one in the shower, and like he would have to be, and he was really good at just being the first one up to make sure that he had that time that he needed to kind of get mentally prepared for the day.
Yeah.
I think that most of us are. I think if you say that you're not a routine-driven individual, you're lying to yourself. So I think having a good morning routine, it all starts before Jumpstart. What you do before coming into Jumpstart really dictates how the rest of the day is going to unfold.
100%.
Absolutely. And all of that translates directly out onto the doors too.
Yep.
The people that are postponing getting out on the doors, you know, running to the gas station, stuff like that. When I was a coordinator, my FCL at the time, when I was training, told me to skip the after party. Because every morning after Jumpstart, you got guys hanging out in the parking lot, chatting and stuff like that. Being the first person out on the doors every day only sets you up for more success.
Yep. I had to remove, they had a ping pong table in our Northern Utah office, and I had to have it removed because guys, well, for one, I was like, hey, this thing's going to be going pretty soon because we're going to be using this space. And until this thing goes, if y'all want to show up before Jumpstart, show up as early as you want. As long as these doors open, y'all can play. But once Jumpstart's finished, there's no ping pong. Y'all got to get out there. Because those are some expensive games of ping pong. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude. Thousands of dollars.
Yeah, it's that proactivity. It's like you're priming yourself up, because when people set appointments with us on the doors, a lot of it's our energy. It's like really like what you're saying. I mean, communication's 93% nonverbal. And so it's not really so much what we're saying, it's how we're saying it. And your energy has a lot to do with how you say stuff. So you want to be successful, honor that, prepare yourself, prime yourself up, and that's going to lead to a lot of success. Now, beyond, say, getting to the jump start and getting to area, what would be, like, what do you do first thing you get to area?
First thing I do when I get to area is I recite the script in my car.
Oh, beautiful.
Yep. And I knock every door. I don't skip doors.
Yep. Yeah, I always like to say your first door should be your car door.
Yep.
That was one thing, especially as a new coordinator. Like if you're not getting that first door out of the way before you get in front of somebody, then you're making some mistakes.
Yep. Yeah, they say the hardest door is your car door.
Yep.
Get the fuck out.
It's the hardest door to get through.
Yep, get out. And I knew a guy, I don't know if I told you guys this or not, but he had written in Sharpie on his door panel, "Do it for your kids." So the second he pulls up to hood, got to get out. He has no choice. And that was a really cool thing that I saw. He really wasn't that good, didn't work out, but just, you know, even if someone's not that good, you can still pick up stuff. You can still learn. You can learn from anyone. And that always stuck out to me. But yeah, car door, right? Saying your script, that's 100%. Now we like to do like some role plays and things, get people primed up, but that's not going to be every single time. And it is your responsibility to make sure that you're ready to go. The cheapest training is, not on the doors, you know, that you want to burn leads trying to get warmed up for the day, go into it warmed up already. Like, you're a professional athlete. Like, they go out there. Have you been, you guys seen the warm-ups. They're warming up it's like 2 hours before the game, these guys are out there.
Yeah.
So you got to get primed up. You got to get warmed up because, you know, this is real life. Like, treat it like a professional. We're not amateurs. Treat yourself like a professional and act as such, and you'll have the success you're looking for. All right. Now, as far as being prepared, getting out in the neighborhood, what are some other things? Like, where do you guys park?
Depends on the time of year. If it's summer, I try to find the shade, baby. Yeah.
100%.
If I can find the shade, then, you know, it's getting 117 degrees. We're out there knocking. If you can come back to a car that's not blistering your back skin off when you get into the car, that's a win. right? After a long day of knocking, it's great to have something waiting for you. The same reason why you make your bed before you leave every day, so that you can have a nice made bed when you get back to it. So parking in the shade, one thing that I have done over and over and over and continue to do, leading up to even going into appointments, is I find I find these songs that just get me hyped up, right? Lately, it's going to sound funny, but Big X the Plug, he's been my boy lately, bro.
Yeah,
safe to say I'm the biggest, the largest.
Yeah. Well, dude, I drive around them Texas roads listening to that shit, and I
Big
feel
old lifted F-150.
Yeah, I feel pretty cool,
dude. It's
I
hard
got my kids with me. I'm like, I'm the biggest.
It's hard not to get hyped up from. Shout out Big X. But yeah, just songs like that. I kind of cycle through a couple different songs that just really get the energy up, kind of move around a little bit, move my head, a couple head bangs, and then I typically will chug a little bit of water and recite the script and get out there.
Get out there.
Yep.
Also to add, do not park in front of someone's house.
Yeah.
Unless you need to. And if you need to, go and knock their door and check to make sure it's okay with them. Always just try to park on a road next to a wall or a fence, something like that.
What would you say the reason why?
It's respect.
Just respect, It can look suspicious if you're sitting in your car waiting outside of someone's house, say you're listening to music or taking a phone call, or you're reciting the script in your car. If someone can see you sitting in your car directly outside of their house, it's going to be a bad look, and that's already negative PR in the neighborhood that you're trying to
100%. Yeah, we don't want to draw negative attention, so park out of the way. Usually, you have the different areas will look different, but a lot of times you have the mailbox, right? And there's no houses or anything. That's just a nice street that you can park on. So I almost always park in one of those locations, unless of course I'm running the appointment. For that though, I never pull in people's driveways. Pulling the driveway, someone's going to come home and you're going to pull out. And I think one time ever, I broke that rule in Windows, and sure as shit, someone pulled up and I had to move.
Oh, no.
But little things like that, So you pull up, you park somewhere out of the way. You don't draw negative attention to yourself. You get the hell out of your car door. You make sure that you're primed up, ready to go when you get there. And then in terms of walking around, I mean, that's your neighborhood. So wave to people, smile to people. If someone's outside, go talk to them first. Yep. It looks really suspicious. And for whatever reason, I even dealt with it myself. It just felt weird at first when I was going to neighborhoods and people outside, and it just felt weird approaching them. But those are the best ones.
Yeah, they can't slam a door in your face.
You can't slam a door in your face. Yeah. And then just conversationally, you can find out what's going on in the whole neighborhood because you're out there and, So talk to the people that are outside, talk to them first. Because again, when you're not wanting to bring negative attention to yourself and they see you going and knocking doors and then you don't talk to them, they're like, what is going on here? Mm-hmm. Right? Go talk to them so they know who you are. And I don't know how many times, once I got through that mindset, I mean, I was setting appointments with those people all the time. And I'd sit on my Segway and do it and do twirls and spins for them and stuff. And, when you get off the damn Segway, just roll up on them. So little things like that, not bringing negative attention toward yourself. And even when you knock on the door, right? When you knock the door, are you going to stand right there, a foot away from the door so when they open, your face is right there? They might not even open the door if that's the case. So you stand way back. I go about 8-10 feet, kind of stand sideways, nonchalant, look busy, things like this. Because if you're just standing there squared up, maybe it looks it could look aggressive or it could look needy. Yeah. Either one is not really going to serve you well. So really what people like is just kind of a neutral, kind of casual, professional, nice, kind of a mixture of that stuff. And it really helps. What would be some other things just off top of head that you guys would say?
I like to get really comfortable at the doors. I think it's easy to get really rigid and anxious and oh crap, what's going to happen? One thing that I started doing early on was getting excited by the anticipation of what's behind the door instead of nervous by the anticipation. I feel like that there's two different things that you can do with that energy. You can either allow it to control you and get really nervous and anxious, or you can be like, all right, what is behind this door? What's about to happen?
That's how I feel when I knock no soliciting. Because most part, they don't say anything, but there's always this air of excitement. They're like, something could happen. Maybe they'll be mean or something, you know?
You never know.
Yeah.
Make my day.
Make my day.
Yeah. I also like to, one of the things that's really worked for me is kind of leaning up against something. Like if I just am in my element, just leaned up against something, very casual, not squared up to them, and then they answered, hey, how's it going? The more casual you are, the more relaxed you are, the more relaxed they're going to be when you come out, or when they come out. And I feel like we want them to be as relaxed as possible, because it shouldn't be a high stress thing. It really shouldn't. Like if you're not having a good time, if you're not having fun, if you're taking it way too seriously, you're not gonna last very long. I feel like.
And people are gonna feel that energy, you know. And some other things, like there's like during certain times of the year, right? There could be some best practices. Hydration, really important.
Yep.
Also, just understanding with hydration comes probably the necessity to use the bathroom. So, for me, I always have to actually stop at the gas station right before I get to Hood, because the second I get to Hood and I get out, I have to go to the bathroom. So just on my way, I just make sure there's a gas station on the way that I can conveniently pull into that's kind of on the way. And then that way, when I get there, like I've used the restroom, I'm not in any situation where I knock 2 doors and then I got to spend the next 30 minutes getting to and fro from the gas station. There's other things. I know, like pest control companies, like, summer programs, they drop you off in the neighborhood and encourage you to use people's bathrooms, It could be a little bit more difficult maybe if you're a lady. I know the guys, Gatorade bottles, there's things that you can do to save you some time. I would recommend at least having some hand sanitizer at bare minimum. But little things like that, hydration, right? Now, just drinking a bunch of water is not necessarily going to lead to hydration. So maybe like some electrolytes, right? Liquid IV, whatever it is. Just the last thing you want is to, lose half your week because you had heat exhaustion.
Yeah.
And then something safe for like wintertime, depending on where we are. I've been stomping through the snow and big old icicles hanging off, and it can hurt your knuckles to knock that door. A nice little golf ball though. And sometimes people just like to use golf balls anyway, because it has a nice tap to it, a nice kind of loud ping. And then you're not getting that, I like to call it the door knocker knuckle, you get a little thing on there.
I got that window knocking
the
knuckle
window
from smashing those windows in every appointment.
Yeah.
So one thing that got brought to my attention a while ago, and this may or may not be true, but it works for me. We actually had a guy come and give a little presentation to us. He specializes in fitness for the door-to-door industry specifically, and he was talking about hydration.
Calvin Tata?
I don't remember what his name was.
The D Fit?
Yep.
Yeah.
D Fit. So one thing that really stood out to me was his method of hydration. He said, you imagine your bladder like a teacup with a hole at the bottom of it. And if you're constantly just putting small amounts of water in there, it's going to have time to empty out and hydrate your body. But if you're chugging water, that's going to overfill. And that's when you're getting a lot of waste from water and when you're having to pee a lot.
So he recommends like a titration.
Yep. Just small sips, small sip. You're walking up to a door, take a small sip. You're leaving, take a small sip. Walk up to a door, take a small sip. Chugging water. Like for me, chugging water, it's like one of my favorite things to do, but it tends to make me feel sick and it tends to make me have to pee.
Yeah.
So,
and I just cannot chug, or like I have to chug stuff. I don't know what it is, but
good.
I'll try to exercise that.
Yeah. A good cold chug always feels really good. But one One thing that Isaiah and I did last summer that I would just encourage across the board is just buy a cooler. Put a cooler in your trunk. Put some water bottles in the cooler. Put some Gatorade in the cooler. And you don't even have to buy Gatorade. Just get those Gatorade packets, like the powder packets, and fill up one of those waters with a Gatorade powder packet. And I think they say for every Gatorade, you want like 8 bottles of water. So like you don't need that much electrolyte. We're losing a lot out there, but you need a lot more water.
Yeah. And you definitely want to have like some, even if it's just a pinch of some sea salt in your water, because what can happen is if your electrolytes are already low and then you overhydrate and it's just straight water, it'll essentially like flush out the little bit of electrolytes you do have and make you actually a lot worse off. Something I used to see Joel do, he would during the summertime, he'd keep a cooler and then he would freeze bottles overnight, and then he would keep the frozen bottle of water in his pocket, the same phone pocket. Then that way his phone's not overheating as he's going throughout the day. Another thing with phones, have a battery charger. Have that thing ready to go, because your phone, it's probably not going to get through a full day of knocking, using whatever apps we're using, navigating. It's just not. And the last thing you want to do is waste time trying to get a charge on your phone. Today I heard some coordinators, hey, we got to go back to the house. I got 15% charge. It's like, I didn't say nothing, but it's like, battery pack, bud, battery pack. Because I've seen guys, they're at gas stations trying to find a charger, or restaurants, or just whatever creative approach that they can do to be able to work, when just be proactive enough and spend $20 and go get yourself a battery. Yep. Just little things like that. It's like you're only as good as your tools, right? And you need the right tools to do the job. Now, for me, I don't recommend like just blowing money on stuff. But if you need it, spend the money and spend a little extra if you need to ensure it's something that's going to be quality enough to service you. Yeah. Because you can buy a tool and maybe it's not the best tool and you're not as efficient with the job. What would be some things maybe you can think of that we haven't covered?
I would always say when you're knocking, the first thing you want to do is smile. If you're knocking on doors all day and you're just carrying around the weight of the day, you're monotone, your face is flat, every single door, every person that answers, you're going to get that same energy back. So anytime I'm training our guys, I tell them smile. Always smile, because you want to be showing people that you're positive. And if you're not a positive reinforcement out there, then best of luck.
And anyone who's anyone, if you haven't done your script in the mirror to see what your face looks like, do it. I did pretty good my first month. Not as good as you guys as a coordinator, but I did pretty good. And it wasn't until like a month later that someone was like, hey, look in the mirror. Have you guys been trying to look in the mirror as you do your pitch? And I saw myself in the mirror. I was like, holy cow, that's what I look like. Because I got the resting dad face bad. And that's the face I was showing up with on people's doors. And from that day forward, sometimes it feels a little weird, like a forced smile. But it's like, you got to get your energy right to where you don't have to force a smile. Like literally, like smile before they answer the door. Like get that smile on your face, thinking about positive stuff, just kind of get the energy up, kind of hype yourself up a little bit. They answer the door. What I like to do is like, if I'm knocking with someone, just casually talk and have a good time, tell a joke or whatever. They answer the door, we're laughing. Like, what are these guys doing? So just little things like that, just to make sure the energy's right. Because energy's everything with this stuff. So what can we do to prime ourselves up to go out there? And again, like a professional athlete, they have all these things that they do. Like they have a routine, they got superstitions, all sorts of stuff. Like even for me to run an appointment, like if I don't have gum and a freaking spritz of cologne, I'm like, that's just my bare minimum things. But if I don't have those things, I'm like, shit, man, I don't know if I'm going to close this. And last night I didn't have my spritz of cologne. but I made damn sure I went to the gas station and at least got some gum. And I told myself, you don't need that spritz because you got that gum. And I went and closed it.
And it closed, baby. Oh, yeah.
But at least if I didn't get that gum, it probably wouldn't have closed.
Yeah.
It probably, I don't know, but it's like,
probably would have.
you know, just a little superstition. It's like, you know, I know what primes me up. And it's like, I just do the things I know that work. And then when I go there, and kind of like Drake, it's like music. Because I spend a lot of time listening to podcasts. I'm listening to, I keep forgetting the name. What was that book you recommended to me? Tim Story?
Relentless.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm listening to like Relentless right now.
That's a good book.
It's a great book.
Yeah.
But listening to books and podcasts on my way to the field, whether it's knocking doors or running appointments, to each their own, but for me, it does not serve me.
Yeah.
Like I got to get the energy up, and music gets my energy up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great tool. One thing I want to add, you kind of talked about the car door, having a strong why. That's always probably the number one best practice anyone could have, is finding what your why is. And one thing we always say is that money should be a result, not a reason.
Yep.
And it's a byproduct. Money is the byproduct of the success that you have. So.
Yeah. So all these things over here, the personal development, the efforts at work, the putting one foot in front of the other just to hone in your craft, all of these things, when that's the focus, the money just takes care of itself.
Yep.
And what was really cool, LaShawn and I, we talked for like 15 minutes straight about all these benefits of like what it is that we do and this and that and what drew him into it. And I mean, we talked at length and we never got into the money. And I was like, have you noticed we haven't even talked about the financial benefit yet? All these things that we've been spending all this time with. And it's because it's the accumulation of those good things that the money equals. So
100%.
100%. As far as, best practices, I feel like that's a pretty decent start with it. I mean, we can get really into the weeds with certain things depending on what it is, but just generally speaking, I feel like that could really set some guys up.
100%. Yeah.
Any final remarks before we end the podcast?
One thing I just wanted to kind of mirror what Isaiah said about having a strong why. I was actually talking to Baylor earlier, and one of the things that he said was just like, holy cow, this kid's pretty smart, dude. Like he's pretty smart for a young kid. He was saying that having a strong why is super important because we are 1099 and we really don't, we don't babysit people. If we have to babysit you, bye. Because, we want people that are coming in and they're driven and they realize that they're not tied down by a schedule. That's kind of one of the benefits of working here. But in spite of not having a schedule, they make their own. Because, if you have money in your bank and you just had a really good week, what is keeping you on the doors? Your why. That should be what's keeping you on the doors. If you don't have a reason to go out there and you have money in the bank and you're comfortable, you need a reason to get back out on the doors, even when comfort has found you.
Yep. 100%. And I can't think of how many times my why is what's pulled me through some stuff I didn't want to do. And the why really, because it's like the accumulation of a lot of things will equal discipline, but that why is what provides the consistency with discipline. Yep. You just got to remind yourself of why. And it really helps when you regularly write that stuff down because it keeps it top of mind. So Keep it all top of mind, think about it, and you're going to see it. It'll manifest itself in your life.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, guys. Isaiah, you want to take us out?
Thank you guys for joining us on this episode of the Behind the Knock podcast. Till next time.
Till next time. And by the way, guys, like, subscribe, comment, DM, Proficient Windows. We're always looking for good people. Have a good one.